Hi guys, welcome to the fourth video lesson. I believe it is our fourth one in our first unit. It comes from 1.3 chapter in our math book. And today we're going to be talking about exponents and powers, which some of you are familiar with and others aren't. I wanted to give you a heads up. These are our vocabulary words that we are going to be using, and so you need to look for them throughout the lesson so you can fill out what these are. I want you to write down these words and a definition in your notes. So please look for, we're going to be talking about what is a power, we're going to be talking about what is a base, what is an exponent, and what the word evaluate means. So please look for those throughout the rest of our lesson. All right, here's our first example. You need to know that the power, the word up here, power, stands for this whole thing. 4 to the third power is how we would say this. The number 4, the big number that's here on the bottom, that's referred to as our base number, and the little tiny number that's up to the right of our number is referred to as the exponent. But all of it together is what we would call a power. And what it means in an exponent or a power here, what it means is that this base number is going to be taken times itself this many times. The exponent tells us how many times we're going to multiply the base times itself. So for example, 4 to the third power, I want you to say that to yourself. 4 to the third power is how we would say this. It means 4 times 4 times 4. Okay? So let's go ahead and look at this next one down here. We have 7 to the fourth power. I want you to say that to yourself. 7 to the fourth power. And what does that mean? Well, it means our base, which is the number 7, is going to get multiplied times itself 4 times. Our exponent is telling us 4. So it means 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. We just wrote this power as an exponent, or we just wrote this power as a product. Excuse me, I'm sorry, as a product. So how about over here? We have the number 3 as our base, the number 2 as our exponent. What do you think this means? Can we write this out as a product? Well, certainly. It just means we're going to take 3 times itself. How many times? 2. So notice, it does not mean 3 times 2. It means 3 times 3. And if we go back over here, notice that this does not mean 7 times 4. Instead, it means 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. So you need to be careful and make that distinction. One other thing that I want to make known, and you might want to put this in your notes as well, whenever anything is to the second power, like this over here, you can say 3 to the second power, but most often you're going to hear it referred to as squared. When you hear 3 squared, that means it's 3 to the second power. If we were talking about the number 5 squared, that would mean 5 to the second power, or 5 times 5. So the second power means squared. And then we also have a special term for when 3 is our exponent, like we have up here. If you have 3 as an exponent, we sometimes will hear it called cubed. So this, you could call this 4 to the third power, or you could call it 4 cubed. They only have special terms for when it's 2 or 3 as the exponent. Everything else you would just say to that power. So let's check it out. We need to write the power as a product, which is what we just did. So let's go ahead and try that. We have 15 to the second power, or we could say 15 squared. What does that mean? we're going to do. Does it mean we're going to take 15 times 2? Nope. We're going to take 15 times 15. That's what it means when we see 15 squared. So how about this one? 7 to the 3rd power. What else could we call that? Yep, that's right. 7 cubed. And so 7 cubed means 7 times 7 times 7. And last but not least, we have 1 to the 5th power. Notice there's no special name for this one. We just say 1 to the 5th power. And this one, what does 1 to the 5th power mean when we write it as a product? It means we're going to take 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. It's 1 times itself 5 times. Now let's look at this last part. What do you think it means to evaluate? Evaluate simply means to solve. So it just means we're going to go ahead and solve these. What do we get when we take 15 times 15? Well, let's see. I don't know it off the top of my head, but we can always write down our work. So 15 times 15 gets us 5 times 5 is 25. I put the 5 down, and I put the 2 up above. Then I'm going to take 5 times 1, which equals 5, and add that 2. So 5 plus 2 is 7. Now I'm done with that. I'm going to move over 1 spot, so I got to put a 0 in there. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. Now I'm just going to add. 5 plus 0 is 5. 7 plus 5 is 12, so I put the 2 down and carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So therefore, 15 squared is equal to 225. Good job. How about here? 7 cubed. We already said it means 7 times 7 times 7. So start with just one pair. What is 7 times 7? If I know my facts, 7 times 7 is 49. And now I still need to take it times 7 one more time. So 49 times 7, 7 times 9 is 63. Put the 6 up. 7 times 4 is 28. Plus 6 gets me to 34. 343 is what 7 cubed is equal to. So you can see 7 times 7 times 7 is equal to 343, and yet 7 times 3 is only 21. You can see there's a big difference. We need to make sure we're not making that mistake thinking that it's 7 times 3. Our answer needs to be 7 times 7 times 7, which would then equal 343. And last but not least, we have 1 to the 5th power. So let's go ahead and work this one out. What do we get when we take 1 times 1? 1. All right, 1 times 1 again is 1. No matter how many times we take it, it equals 1. So 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 equals 1. Our answer is going to be 1. So let's keep moving. We have more practice here. Oh, looks like I forgot to add this in here. Let's try 10 to the 4th power, all right? Then we have 8 cubed and 2 to the 6th power. I want you to pause and try and do these ones on your own. All right, so if we had 10 to the 4th power, that means 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. All right, taking it one pair of numbers at a time, I know that 10 times 10 is 100. I need to bring this one down now. 10 times this 10, or sorry, 100 times this 10 is going to equal 1,000. And I still need to multiply times this 10, which equals 10,000 as my answer for 10 to the 4th power. 8 cubed, that's going to mean 8. Remember, cubed means to the 3rd power, so that means 8 times 8 times 8 8 times 8 is 64. I still need to get this one in there. So 64 times 8. 8 times 4 is 32. Put the 3 up. 8 times 6 is 48. Plus 3 gives me 51. So 512 is my answer for 8 cubed. And then 2 to the 6th power. Hang in there. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Let's make sure we have them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. So let's figure it out. I'm going to switch colors here. 2 times 2 we know is 4. Times 2, 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 times 2 is 32. 32 times 2 is 64. My answer would be 64. I was just doubling it every time there. All right, let's keep moving on. So we know now that evaluate means to solve, that a power is made up of a base and an exponent. Now we kind of need to work backwards. What if we have this repeated multiplication? Can we go ahead and turn that into a power? We need to write this product as a power. So if I know that the 3 is the one being repeated, I've got 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, what would be my base? Well, remember your base is the number that's being repeated. So 3 is what's being repeated, and now my exponent is how many times did I repeat it? So we just need to count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that means this represents 3 to the 7th power. How about over here for number 2? What's going to be my base here? Yep, you're right. 5 is the base. And what would be my exponent? How many times is 5 repeated? How many times is 5 taken times itself? If you guessed 4, you got it correct. 5 to the 4th power. And how about this very last one? Why don't you try and figure out what that one is on your own. I'll give you a minute to pause it and figure it out. Perfect. You said that 40 is our base, because that's the number that's being repeated, and it's being repeated 3 times. So we would say 40 to the 3rd power. How else could we say that? That's right, 40 cubed. And here's your last challenge. It's a word problem. We haven't really done a word problem yet, but I think you can figure it out. I have faith in you. It says you need to contact members of your marching band. So you need to call 5 members after school. Those 5 members are each supposed to call 5 more members by dinner time. And that evening, those members need to each call 5 more people. So how many band members are called that evening? Try and write your answer as a power and then evaluate it. Have a great night. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow in class.